This is Kristy Howard, coordinator of the Upper Murray Cowgirls Better Beef Group, and today we went to the Glen 42nd Annual Murray Grey and Angus Bull Sale. It was a fantastic day and we all learnt the real value of visually assessing a bull as well as looking at the figures in order to buy the right bull for your place. We were met on the day by Willie Milne, who kindly offered to share his experience of selecting bulls with us, and we were also joined on the day by the Upper Cowgirl members Gay, Karen, Janice, and then later on Carolyn and Shirley, who were there with their farming partners. The first thing we did when we got there was go around with Willie and have a look at all the bulls in the bull pens. They were separated into age groups, so the first pen that we looked at were the oldest autumn drop bulls. They were split into two pens, and then we had a look at the spring drop bulls. One of the things that was most fascinating about having a look at the bulls was just once you got in the pens and walked around with them, just seeing them move. It highlighted any sort of visual faults that we might have been looking for. In particular, bull number 1, who had quite good figures, we saw that he had a lump on the inside of his left hock, and Willie said that, you know, he would steer clear of a bull like that. And interesting enough, obviously the people who bought him hadn't noticed that, or it wasn't important to him, and he was the bull that ended up making the best price on the day. As we went through the pens, we had a bit of a competition to see who could pick the kind of bull that Willie liked, and just, you know, picking out the bulls that we liked ourselves. We looked at the figures, and so we were really interested in 200-day weight, being for a weaner market, as well as birth weight, and looking at eye muscle area. Probably some of the most interesting things Willie was telling us was we were watching some bulls just having a bit of bumpo with their heads. As he said, look out for bulls that have got a ball patch on their head, because they're the ones that sort of are boss, and they like to fight with all the other bulls. So might be a bit aggressive if you're actually looking for a bull for temperament. And he was also talking about, you know, when you do buy bulls and bring them home to your own bulls, only ever put 2 in a paddock together. He said, because they might butt heads, but once you put a third or more bulls in there, if they join in the fight, they could ram into the back of your bull and break the legs of your nice expensive bull, and then you've wasted all that money. One of the other things that we were looking at was picking out bulls that would be a good heifer bull as opposed to a good cow bull. And Willie talked about good heifer bulls being, you know, smaller, with really paying attention to conformation. Obviously, the smaller bulls are less likely to hurt the heifers doing joining, and obviously bigger bulls, heavier bulls with a bit more muscling, better to go with your cows, which, you know, have already had a calf and unlikely to have as many calving problems. A couple of things about the sale catalogue that was interesting was, you know, bulls were marked with the abbreviations of HBR or ABR, and Willie explained that HBR meant that it was herd book recorded and you could actually register that bull as a stud bull, whereas ABR were commercial bulls. And there were a few of the Glen's bulls that were HBR. There was also MBR, which meant that the bull had some Murray Grey blood in it, and if you looked in the catalogue you could actually see, you know, that what percentage of Murray Grey blood there was in that bull. After we picked our favourite bulls and we had a bit of lunch, we went and the auction started, so all the fun happened, and we sat up on the top and we actually watched as the bulls came in. And one of the interesting observations that Gay made was that if you'd only looked at the bulls as they came in singly into their sale yard, you wouldn't have, they all looked good, and you wouldn't have got that comparison of actually seeing them in the pens with their mates. And so that was a bit of a lesson, to make sure that you always get there early enough to have a look at the bulls in their pens before the sale. The average price on the day wasn't as high as it has been for the Glen. It was just over $4,000, and there were a few of the younger bulls that were passed in. $3,000 was his, you know, the lowest price he was prepared to take for the bulls. Willie bought his favourite bull there, and we might even have a photo of it in the lovely photos that Janice took for us on the day. And Carolyn and Shirley were also involved in buying bulls, and you can see in the photos that, you know, Shirley in particular had a bit of a chat to Willie about what they were doing. One of the things that I just wanted to highlight, which was, you know, quite notable about going to the Glen to buy bulls, is that they have a quality assurance. All the bulls are guaranteed for 2 years. So if a bull becomes infertile, breaks down, or becomes structurally unsound due to reasons other than injury or misadventure, that within 2 years of the date, that they will actually provide the purchaser with a satisfactory replacement if available, or refund the purchase price. There's also a bit of information about, you know, what they've been tested for, and also it was interesting to note that transport will be free on bulls that are purchased at auction, as long as they, you know, they go above the $3,000 reserve. And you could see that quite a few buyers, you know, that was a bit of an incentive for them to buy their bulls there as well. All in all, it was a great educational experience, and I'm sure that those of you who missed out will benefit from listening to this and seeing the pictures, and it'll be something that we will definitely discuss next time we meet. So this is Kristy signing off from the Upper Murray Cowgirls report of going to a bull.